G'day folks, Connor here from CW Tech, back with another video, and today we're doing a camera comparison between the Galaxy Note 9 and the Canon M50. So we're out here, we're going to be doing all auto mode to make it fair, just point and shoot. We're going to do video as well as photography. Without further ado, let's get stuck into the video. Let's go. We're going to do 1080p 30 frames per second, 1080p 60 frames per second and 4K. I'm expecting the Galaxy Note 9 to kick ass on the 4K, but I'm expecting the Canon to win on the photography side of things, so stay tuned, comments down below. The Note 9 is on the right hand side and the M50 is on the left. I wasn't going to do a blind test, I'd rather just let everyone see what is what. And you can clearly see that the Galaxy Note 9 is producing lighter photos. As I said earlier, this is all auto mode, point and shoot. Tap on what I want to focus on and press the shutter button. No other settings have been changed. And every single time the Galaxy Note 9 produced a brighter photo. I wouldn't say it was a better photo, but it was definitely brighter, and dynamic range seemed to be more improved on the Galaxy Note 9. However, on the M50, the colours were definitely better and definitely more true to life, and I would say the contrast was more realistic as well. I mean, every photo that I took, the M50 looked more realistic. Now, it is also the same with the video. You can see that there's some differences in the video, and I tried my hardest to get these to line up perfectly. Now, for the video, the Galaxy Note 9 looked like it had a little bit more saturation, a little bit more colour, and a little bit less of a flat image. And I was quite impressed with the video of the Galaxy Note 9. As you can see, the Galaxy Note 9 kicked butt when it comes to hyperlapse. The Canon M50 just couldn't produce the same results. The Note 9 kicks butt when it comes to video stabilization. You can really see that it's a lot smoother than the Canon M50. Now, I had these both on the same tripod. It was a little mini tripod, and I had the Note 9 mounted on top of the Canon M50. So every step that I took was identical for both cameras. However, I do prefer the image that comes out of the Canon M50. I think the Note 9 is looking over sharpened again. The colours are not as true to life as on the M50. Sometimes there's a little bit over saturation as well, but more often than not, it was just a brighter photo. It didn't have as much contrast, and it didn't have as much vibrancy. It was just brighter. And I think you'll notice that in a lot of camera reviews, you'll see that the brighter photo often gets chosen as the better photo. But for me, that's not necessarily the case. Another area where I just seemed to get a lot better results was with the bokeh. The bokeh from the Canon M50 was fantastic. Even though the aperture is a lot lower on the Note 9, I found that the bokeh coming out of the M50 looked better. It looked like the same photo, whereas with the smartphones, your bokeh tends to look like it's two separate photos joined together. Now, I also went along and did some low light shots, and here's a couple of examples here. One where I was in a tunnel, one where I was in my YouTube studio, and as you can see there, the Note 9 again took a brighter photo. It just had that dynamic range is there, ready for it, and it brightens it up. And even if I punch in on a photo, it's really hard to see a difference in the quality. You can see again that the Galaxy Note 9 is a little bit over sharpened. As you can see, they are very equal. It's very hard to pick a winner in a lot of photos. Now, for this, on the Canon M50, I was using the 10 to 18mm lens to try and get the same sort of field of view as the Galaxy Note 9, and for the most part it did quite well. And here is some 1080p 60 frames per second video, and again, the quality is really hard to tell the difference. Like, if I did not tell you on the screen which one was which, I don't think you would be able to tell. Because as you can see in the video, the Galaxy Note 9 seems to give more saturation, whereas with the photos, the Canon M50 appeared to give more saturation. So it was quite tricky doing this review, and I think both cameras stood up on their own. Okay, so this is 4K, 24 frames per second on the Canon M50 and 30 frames per second on the Note 9. They both crop in a fair bit, but that autofocus on the Canon is terrible compared to Note 9 anyway, and the normal autofocus on the Canon is amazing, but when they go to 4K they got that funky thing happening. So not the best. Certainly not the best. Anyway, you let me know what you think of the 4K Canon. We'll go get some footage as well of a horse. And 4K Note 9, we'll get some footage of the horse. This is 4K on the Galaxy Note 9 and 4K on the Canon M50. I can't even remember what type of autofocus it is on the Canon, but what they call it. But on the Note 9 it is phase detection, and on the M50 I think it's contrast detection or something like that. Anyway, I'll make sure I write on the screen what it is. Again, take note of the audio quality. It's really hard to pick an overall winner. For me, my preference is definitely the Canon M50. Why? Because I have 6 lenses that I can stick on it and get a multitude of different photos, and the settings are just so much deeper, and those manual controls on the Canon M50 are much better for me than the Galaxy Note 9's manual controls. I can do more with the M50. But if you don't care about photography and you just want point and shoot and you've got a Galaxy Note 9, you really don't need to get a Canon M50 or any other type of mirrorless or DSLR camera. It is that good. So it definitely seems to me that throughout this day, the Canon M50 and the Galaxy Note 9 really seem to switch places throughout the day. One type of video, the Galaxy Note 9 would perform a certain way, and then in the next video, the Canon M50 would perform a certain way. And even for me, it was really hard to tell when I was editing this. I really had to keep track of which video was from which device, because they really did change a lot. And I think they're quite on par with each other. Canon M50 is amazing straight out of the box. Slow-mo, 24 frames per second, 60 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 120 frames per second as well. So you really can get some great looking footage out of the device. And for me, I'm going to keep using the Canon M50. If you appreciate the work I put into this video, give me a like, hit the comments down below, and share this video with your friends. I appreciate you all coming by, and I will catch you in the next video. Check ya.